Let's be real. Finding an affordable home out here is hard. Finding one that's affordable and decent, even harder. Most of the homes in America are between 42 and 52 years old. They need some love, but the prices don't seem to be matching up. And so I just recently took a class on renovation loans because what I found is a lot of buyers are okay with possibly doing a few fixes, whether it be refurbishing a kitchen or a bathroom, to maybe getting the flooring done, to maybe even bigger projects. But they're having a hard time finding loan products that support that, or lenders that know how to do that. I'm Agent Jazz, and I'm here to talk about renovation loans. Alright, so I just recently took a class on renovation loans because I'm like, there has got to be some experts out there. The loans exist, so where are the experts? Like, who knows about the renovation loan? Because most of the lenders I talk to are like, oh, they're way too hard, they take too long, don't want to deal with them. Which I understand, because they do have a longer process, usually about 60 days or longer. The process looks much different, and you have to go through draw schedules for most of them because of the way things are. You got to get a good contractor, and with any home renovation project, you're finding it to be kind of difficult with finding a good contractor. Going through HUD to get those contractors draws approved, and just making sure that the process flows seamlessly. So I do understand why some lenders just don't want to deal with it, but they're putting themselves, I feel, possibly at a disadvantage if they don't learn that skill, because there are so many buyers that are willing to do these things. And it's not just for lower priced homes. It could be for homes that are maybe in that 400K range. If they're sitting in a 600, 700K neighborhood, you can get a renovation loan for that too. So I'm just going to go over some of the cool things that I learned. It won't be a super long video. I'm literally just going off of the handout that they gave me. I took so many notes, like it was ridiculous, but I just got so much from the class, and it was crazy, sidebar, because maybe a week and a half before I was sent the class, I had put on threads like, is anyone specializing in renovation loans? And I got some weird, spammy kind of reply, but that was it. And so I was really excited when this class just randomly came to my email. Or maybe it was the grace of God, who knows? But here we are. So there are multiple types of renovation loans, but some of the more common ones that I'm going to be speaking on today are going to be that VA renovation loan. Yes, it does exist for veterans. The 203K limited, the 203K full, the Fannie Mae home style, and then the 203B renovation loan. So your 203B is where I'll start because that's the shortest, quickest. Maybe not the quickest in process, but possibly the quickest in process, because you only are allotted 10K worth of repairs on this loan. The 203B, of course, you cannot have any structural repairs done to that home. Literally for those small things, maybe like a floor in a few rooms, maybe update one of the bathrooms, maybe update some of the things in the kitchen. And it does not count for like appliances. Okay, let's get into 203K. Up to 50K limited. So for the limited 203K loan, you get up to 50K. For the 203K full, it goes actually to a no limit, but it's subject to the FHA loan limits. So I can make another video on FHA loan limits. I think that would be very useful for people as well. And note that this video is for buyers or sellers, because sellers have to move to go somewhere. For a VA, your maximum repair escrow, so how much you can get awarded for your repairs, is actually capped at 75K, and that's before contingencies and fees. And then your 203K limited, did just move up. So like we said before, that 203K limited was up to 50K. It's actually now up to 75K. So before, yes, it was at 50K. So excuse me, I'm trying to combine my notes with the fact it was 50K, but now it's up to 75K, and that includes contingencies and fees. And like I said before, the 203K full, it doesn't have a limit, but it goes off to the FHA loan limit. So you can actually spend more than 75K on whatever repairs need to be done with the 203K full. Pretty cool. 75% of after completed value is how much you can spend for that Fannie Mae home style. So Fannie Mae home style is one of the renovation loan types. And so after completed value is the value that's after the home is bought, and now how much are these values going to be. So 75% of the after completed value. So it's going off the price of the home, and then 75% of that appraised value. So high balance loan, they all, like I said, qualify up to a high balance. Like there's no, oh, the house has to be under 200K, 400K, $1 million. No. You just have to qualify for the renovation loan. So what are some of the qualifications for a renovation loan? For FHA and VA, you have to have a minimum of a 640 credit score. Of course, we want higher, but 640 is the minimum for the credit score. And then for a conventional renovation loan, you're going to want a 680 credit score, but they really do prefer a 720 if we're going conventional style for that renovation loan. It just helps with making sure that your rates aren't super sky high. Rates for renovation loans are a bit higher than traditional loan types. It's more of a risk. And now when we also talk about the qualifications, your debt to incomes are going to be the same. And so check out my debt to income video. But debt to income is your debts compared to your income. And so debt to incomes don't change because it's a renovation loan. Whatever the debt to income was for the FHA, for the VA, for the conventional, is going to be the same for your renovation loan. So that's a plus. Let's see. Another common question is, do I have to have a Class A or a Class B contractor? You can have a Class B contractor like you don't have a Class A contractor, but Class B contractor, the work cannot exceed 117K. After it exceeds 117K, you have to have a Class A contractor for that renovation loan. One other thing that we talked about during the course was HUD homes. Yes, you can do renovation loans on HUD homes, and those are great homes to do it on, especially here in this area. I have direct access to the HUD professional, so that's going to be a plus for anyone looking to do a renovation loan. What else? REO foreclosures are coming back at I'm not going to say an alarming rate, but at an increased rate from what we've seen in past years. New administration, new Fed limits and rules and things going into play. So where homes weren't necessarily foreclosing as quickly, they definitely are foreclosing now. When we were speaking with the HUD representative, though, you definitely want to know all the things that you're going to possibly come against before you go ahead and get the contract in for a HUD home. HUD is not going to renegotiate on the terms of the contract after they're under contract. So you want to make sure that you take the time to do that due diligence. You do have a due diligence period with HUD homes. You have a due diligence period with your renovation loans as well. So you just want to just take your time. and make sure you're speaking with the right professionals. You're getting the HUD consultant out with the renovation loan or the HUD loan, the HUD home project, and making sure that things are getting done. What types of repairs can't I get? Luxury. No luxury. But luxury doesn't include pool. And you can't get any landscaping. Like, landscaping doesn't count as like a renovation type repair. But when we talk about landscaping, hazards and erosion, those things can't be accounted for because they pose a safety hazards to the home. And when we say no luxury, you can't get a sauna installed, you can't get a new pool installed, you can't get a new in-ground pool installed, you can't get a new tennis court installed, but you can get an in-ground pool repaired. So although you can't get one added in as a repair, you can get a pool that is on a property repaired. One of the other cool things that we learned was that they can tear a house all the way down on a 2 or 3K full. So it could be a full tear down and rebuild, which is really cool, but that's only what 2 or 3K full. And now with that, it's got to be torn down all the way to the foundation. The foundation has to stay. It has to be on good foundation. But once you torn it down to the foundation, you can actually add on to that foundation, which is really cool. Like, wait, you can get a bigger square footage. So that's really cool. But again, only with a 2 or 3K full. Let's see. With the Fannie Mae home style, it has to remain your primary residence if you're getting a renovation loan under the Fannie Mae home style. But if it is any of them, VA, 2 or 3K limited, 2 or 3K full, it has to be in your possession. Like, you have to be owner occupied for at least 12 months. In class, we did have the question raised, like, what if somebody has military orders? The Hampton Roads is big on military. You would just contact your loan servicer, explain the situation, provide whatever documentation, and then they could make an exception